And we're back. Really excited today. I'm on the much anticipated Pivot Switchblade on Galbraith Mountain on just a beautiful day. Just rained hard yesterday. Now we're probably gonna be able to enjoy some insane conditions on an insane little bike. The version that they sent to us was this really wild 35th anniversary edition. A real crazy throwback paint job. Got some little stick figures on the frame. But this is definitely a bike revamp that I was extremely excited to get out on and had to wait because of my recent elbow injury. So here I am in recovery aboard just a heater of a little bike. So we got 32 millimeter chainstay in this large size. Got a 480 reach, which is longer than the previous model would have been. 65.2 degree head angle in the low setting, which is great, slack things out. But they really had to hit such a balance point with keeping this thing zesty. But I think the spirit seems to be a switchblade that's still full of zest, but charges a little harder than the outgoing model. I think the first thing that I noticed getting on this bike was just how ridiculously supple the rear shock is. It really dives fast into the top of its stroke, top of the shock travel. So it's a very kind of traction focused curve as far as I can tell. And on top of that, it seems like the shock tune that they have in the Fox Float X is just real nice and light, just the way I like it. Not too much damping to get in the way when you've got a nice DW link that does the heavy lifting for you. This bike travels uphill and downhill with such a tight little footprint. Just feels like it really pivots around your hips. I mean, despite going to like a 480 reach, which is fairly standard in a size large, but with the 76 C-tube angle, steeper than the outgoing model, it feels like you're just on a very nimble package. Another thing I noticed with the general fit of the bike is the handlebars feel nice and high to me. I've been liking higher and higher bars, and I think for a bike like this with a short chainstay, going to a high bar just really seals the package deal. As far as the pedaling kinematics of this bike, I feel like, this is splitting hairs here, but it seems like you need a bit more chain force to prop up the rear end, which you're getting all the time. It's not that much. But I think they went a little bit more, you know, soft off the top, traction focused, which is a really cool combination because you can just kind of clamber up stuff, but you still get the support of the DW link. But man, does that rear shock hop out of the way. Some bikes sit more, you know, balanced and they're a little harder to kind of quantify while doing a review, but not the Switchblade. It has such a strong personality. Ooh yeah, getting out of the saddle there, getting the power on. There's a lot of rear end support, which feels great. Yeah, getting the torque up, that rear end really stiffens up. But yeah, this bike has such a distinct personality and it's just so exciting. It's one of those bikes that you hop on it and it very much so influences your riding style, where, you know, you got the full 160 millimeter fork on this thing, but with a little tighter suspension and curve in the rear end, you're just always shimmying it around, looking for pop. and just kind of floating above the chunk. At least I am. Kind of similar on the climb too. Just feel like you can pick the front end up, move it where you want it. Feels so light on its toes, but the cool part is like how much punch it packs on the way downhill. Oh man, riding this thing at Galbraith is just such a treat. It's just such a kind of poppy and jibby mountain, and then this bike is just poppy and jibby. Oh gosh. Easy to get my weight kind of forward and juice these corners with that kind of higher feeling cockpit setup. Just ended up having a little bit more stack height and feels pretty good. Whew, nice wet wood today. That will keep you honest. Good thing we got quite a bit of traction. Woo! Yeah, like lofting this thing into the air. It just feels like kind of pushes you off the lift. Lofts you, it just gives you an extra little spring. Yeah, making that gap no problem on this little thing. You just load into that little rear shock. It has so much return. And you're kind of encouraged on this bike to shimmy your weight around kind of front to back. And it feels comfortable with that higher stack height. But yeah, you still got that short little 432 millimeter chainstay. Just makes it feel like it's really easy to kind of keep track of your rear end. Super easy to pull this thing up for a wheelie or a manual. It's quite a stiff feeling, kind of confidence inspiring frame. Oh boy, I have a good feeling about this trail. Still a little wet today after yesterday's downpour. Sun hasn't quite dried it up. Keep me honest. That rear suspension curve going downhill, it's crazy that just makes it feel like this bike almost has more travel, but at the same time then you keep pushing into it and then it's quite responsive. And ultimately I would describe this as a very responsive bike, but that top stroke for the travel, the way it just eases in, it's just something to behold. Yeah, this frame is on the stiffer side. Feels like you are very much so responsible for where every morsel of your tire goes, because there is no slop in the system. This next little section of trail is kind of a flatter one, and you really need to dig the bike in and out of holes to kind of maintain your speed, which is exactly where the Switchblade shines. Woo! I love having a shorter chainstay personally. I just find that it's usually easier to keep track of where your rear wheel is. And as a general rule of thumb, I like a crisp handling bike. And the Switchblade is quite crisp. Yeah, it's more confidence inspiring than I would have thought just looking at the geometry. Got like this 65.2 degree head angle in this low setting, but with the stack height and with the generous reach, I actually rode this bike really hard at Larrabee State Park, where I usually test the bigger bikes, and it handled so well. It's cool to have the stability, which I think is coming from the higher stack height. Oh, nice. pulled for that today. Haven't had that in a while. Higher stack height and longer reach just gives you that front end real estate to make you feel confident. But then you got the more 65 flavor head angle. Woo! That, oh man, these corners. These are some of the best ones on the mountain, I think. That 65 head angle just keeps things really lively and not too slack and dead feeling. I do think this style of bike is more suited towards like talented riders, just because you're dealing with more precision, but it's also such a supple rear shock platform that a lot of people could get something out of it. Also got that double day. Nice. Struggling to get that one since my elbow injury. Got to get on the pop machine. It also seems to me that they've got a much more free-flowing rear shock damping tune on this bike. That float, Fox Float X in the rear, just really feels active, and they're just letting the DW Link do its job, which I'm a huge fan of. I love fast rebound, letting that rear shock flutter, and then just trying to balance your body weight yourself. Oh, so good. Phew. As far as the components on this bike, really love the transmission shifting. I love the little pod shifter feel, but it's definitely my first time riding the Code Stealth Ultimate brakes, and these are actually by far and away the best Codes I've ever ridden. They have like a really solid lever feel when you kind of make contact with the braking surface, and the carbon levers feel really nice in your hand. That Fox Float X rear shock, just like super fluttery and awesome. I love the tune on that thing. Man, like leaning this bike over into the corners is just, so good. Just kind of like loading up the sides of your tires. Just kind of feel like you can just feel what's happening underneath you so well. Woo. So, final thoughts. Who's this bike for? Well, first of all, this bike can be ridden by anyone. So it would feel just amazing to any mountain biker. However, I think this bike is most suited to the more advanced rider who's looking for precision, accuracy. They're looking to hop doubles down the trail and really dig into their bike. And for that, I think it's just fantastic. So if you enjoyed this review, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. For the full write-up, head on over to freehub.com.